Our homes should be our sanctuaries, places where we feel safe and relaxed. However, for many people today, the opposite is true. We walk through the front door and immediately feel a sense of pressure. There are piles of mail on the table, clothes draped over chairs, and shelves overflowing with objects we rarely use. Instead of feeling peace, we feel a strange, heavy weight on our shoulders. Take a moment to look around your own living space. Do you see things that actually make you happy? Or do you just see items that need to be cleaned, moved, or fixed? Modern life often feels like a race to collect as many things as possible. We fill every corner of our rooms until there is no space left for us to breathe or move freely anymore. This constant presence of physical objects creates a kind of visual noise. It is hard to focus on a single task when your eyes are constantly jumping from one piece of clutter to another. Even when we try to relax, the mess in the background reminds us of all the work we haven't done yet. It is an invisible burden that follows us throughout the day and into the night. Everything we own takes a little bit of our energy. We have to organize it, protect it, and eventually replace it. When we have too much, that energy is spread thin. We feel tired without knowing why. The objects that were supposed to make our lives easier are actually making them more complicated. We are surrounded by stuff, yet we often feel like something important is missing. The story we're exploring today is about finding that missing piece. It is a journey for anyone who feels overwhelmed by the modern world and wants a clearer mind. We will look at how moving toward a simpler way of living can change everything. By removing the things that do not matter, we create space for the things that truly do. This is the path toward a more intentional life. Every journey is better when shared with others. We would love to know which part of the world you are joining us from today. Please share your location in the comments below and subscribe to our channel to join our community. By following these stories of personal growth, we can explore the challenges of modern life together. Your presence here is a wonderful part of this shared narrative of change. For decades, the global dream has been built on the idea of more. We are told that success is measured by the size of our houses and the number of gadgets we own. Marketing messages tell us that the next purchase will finally bring us the joy we are looking for. We work long hours to earn money so we can buy things we saw in an advertisement, hoping for a change. This cycle of buying and wanting is very powerful. When we get something new, we feel a short burst of excitement. However, that feeling quickly fades away. The new phone becomes an old phone, and the trendy clothes sit at the back of the closet. We then start looking for the next thing to buy, believing that the problem was just that we didn't buy enough of the right items. The reality of this lifestyle is often deep exhaustion. We spend our weekends cleaning houses full of things we don't use. We spend our evenings managing our possessions instead of talking to our families. The promise of happiness through shopping has turned into a reality of stress and debt. We are realizing that having more doesn't mean being more. In fact, it often means feeling much less. Clutter is a simple word, but it has a massive impact on our psychology. It represents delayed decisions and items that no longer serve a purpose. It is the stack of magazines you plan to read, but never do. It is the hobby equipment for a sport you quit 3 years ago. Each item is a small reminder of a past self or a future goal that we haven't achieved yet. Consider the common example of a bedroom closet that won't close properly. You have to push the doors hard to keep the clothes inside. Every morning, you look at the pile and feel frustrated because you can't find what you need. Even though you have 50 shirts, you feel like you have nothing to wear. The physical mess creates a mental block before your day has even truly started. The most important takeaway is a simple truth. Our things have started to own us. We are no longer the masters of our environment, we are the servants of our stuff. We work to pay for the storage of things we don't even like. This realization is the first step toward freedom. It allows us to ask the most important question: what do I actually need to be happy? Let's look at the life of a man named Leo. Leo lived in a beautiful apartment in the center of a busy city. To everyone else, he looked successful. He had the latest electronics, a kitchen full of high-end appliances, and a wardrobe full of designer suits. But every morning, Leo woke up feeling like he was drowning in his own home. He felt tired before the day began. His mornings were always a chaotic race against the clock. He would spend 10 minutes searching for his car keys under piles of mail and old newspapers. He would move 3 different coffee makers just to find a clean mug. By the time he left for work, his heart was racing and his mind was scattered. He felt like he was losing a battle against his own possessions every single day. Leo's apartment was filled with gadgets he had bought during late-night shopping sessions. There was an electric bread maker he used once, a set of professional golf clubs gathering dust, and 3 different tablets. He bought these things because he thought they would make him a better, more interesting person. Instead, they just sat there, reminding him of how little time he actually had to enjoy his life. One rainy Tuesday evening, a major turning point arrived for Leo. He came home to find 3 more boxes from an online store waiting at his door. He couldn't even remember what he had ordered. As he sat on the floor opening the boxes, he looked around his living room. He saw a sea of plastic, metal, and fabric. Suddenly, he felt a deep sense of emptiness rather than the joy he expected. The objects didn't love him back. They didn't listen to his problems or make him feel less lonely after a long day at the office. They were just physical matter, taking up his limited space and time. He realized that his home was full of things, but his life was lacking meaning. The silence in the room felt heavy. He knew that something radical had to change for him to find peace. Leo decided right then that he would stop the cycle. He realized he didn't need a bigger apartment to store his things. He needed fewer things to fill his apartment. He didn't want to spend another Saturday organizing a storage unit. He wanted to go for a walk in the park without worrying about the mess waiting for him at home. He wanted to feel light, both physically and mentally. One of the biggest obstacles Leo faced was something called the sunk cost fallacy. This is a psychological trap where we keep things simply because we spent a lot of money on them in the past. We think that if we throw away an expensive item, we are throwing away the money itself. However, the money is already gone. Keeping the item doesn't bring the money back. It only takes away your space. We often feel guilty about letting go of expensive mistakes. We tell ourselves that we might use it one day or that it is too valuable to give away. So, we let the item sit on a shelf for years. It becomes a monument to a bad financial decision. Every time we look at it, we feel a small spark of regret. This regret is much more expensive than the object's price. Leo had to learn that his peace of mind was worth more than any object he owned. The real cost of an item isn't just the price tag. It is the cost of the space it occupies and the mental energy it consumes. If an object is not bringing value to your life today, it is actually a liability. Recognizing this truth is a powerful way to break the emotional chains of consumerism. Leo picked up an expensive luxury watch he had bought 2 years ago. It was beautiful and made of gold, but he never wore it. He was always afraid of scratching it or losing it. So, the watch sat in a velvet box inside a drawer. He had spent a whole month's salary on it, but it gave him 0 hours of actual use or enjoyment. It was just a heavy memory. He looked at the watch and realized that the money was long gone. It didn't matter if the watch stayed in the drawer or went to a new home, his bank account wouldn't change. However, if the watch left his house, he would have one less thing to worry about. He would have one less drawer to organize and one less item to protect. The watch was no longer an asset. He finally understood that space is a luxury. In a crowded city, having an empty shelf is a sign of true wealth. It means you have room to move, room to think, and room for new experiences. He decided to sell the watch and use the money to pay off a small debt. By letting go of the object, he gained a sense of freedom he hadn't felt in years. This was his first real step. He didn't just clean a room, he changed his perspective. He realized that letting go wasn't about losing something, but about gaining something much better. He felt a surge of hope as he looked at the small, empty space in his drawer. It was a tiny beginning, but it was the start of a total transformation of his environment and his soul. Minimalism is often misunderstood. Some people think it is a modern fashion trend for rich people who want their houses to look like art galleries. Others think it is a form of self-punishment where you are not allowed to own anything fun. In reality, minimalism is a very simple and practical tool. It is the practice of intentionally focusing on the things that bring value and removing everything else. The core idea is often summarized by the phrase, "less is more." This sounds like a contradiction, but it makes perfect sense when you apply it to life. By having less clutter, you have more focus. By having less debt, you have more freedom. By having less busyness, you have more time for the people you love. It is about subtracting the negative to multiply the positive aspects of your existence. Minimalism is not a set of strict rules that you must follow perfectly. There is no official number of items you are allowed to own. It is a personal journey that looks different for everyone. For a writer, minimalism might mean a desk with only a laptop and a lamp. For a chef, it might mean having only the highest quality knives and freshest ingredients. It is about intentionality. Let's address a common myth. You do not have to live in an empty white box. You don't have to throw away your bed or sleep on the floor to be a minimalist. You don't have to get rid of your favorite hobbies or sell your car if you use it every day. Minimalism is not about getting rid of things you love. It is about getting rid of things that get in the way. You also don't have to live in a tent in the woods. Most minimalists live very normal lives in cities and suburbs. They have jobs, families, and interests. The difference is that their lives are not controlled by their possessions. They choose what enters their home very carefully. They prefer to have a few items that they truly use and appreciate rather than a house full of items they ignore. Minimalism should never feel like suffering. If getting rid of something makes your life harder or more miserable, then you are doing it wrong. The goal is to reduce stress, not create it. It is a process of curation. Just as a museum curator chooses only the best paintings for an exhibition, you should curate your home to include only the best things for your personal life. A major pillar of this lifestyle is choosing quality over quantity. In a world of fast fashion and cheap plastic, we are used to things breaking quickly. We buy 10 cheap shirts that lose their shape after 3 washes. A minimalist would rather buy one high-quality shirt that fits perfectly and lasts for years. This approach saves money in the long run and reduces the amount of waste we create. Think about your bookshelf. Is it filled with 50 books that you bought because they were on sale, but you never actually read them? Or does it hold 5 books that changed your way of thinking and that you enjoy reading every year? The 5 books provide much more value than the 50. Having fewer items allows you to appreciate each one more deeply. You can focus your attention on what matters. When you have fewer things, you treat them with more respect. You take care of your tools, you mend your clothes, and you keep your electronics clean. Your relationship with your physical world changes from one of consumption to one of stewardship. You become someone who values substance over appearance. This shift in mindset is where the true power of a minimalist lifestyle begins to show itself. Removing the physical mess from your house is only the first step of the journey. While it feels great to see an empty countertop or a clean floor, the real transformation happens inside. As the rooms in your house become clearer, the rooms in your mind begin to clear as well. You start to notice that you are less reactive and more calm during the day. There is a kind of magic that happens when you stop managing your stuff. You suddenly have more mental space to think about your goals and your dreams. You are no longer distracted by the unfinished business sitting on your shelves. This transition from the physical to the psychological is where people find the most lasting benefits. It is the beginning of a new way of being in the world. The journey of letting go is rarely easy. It is often a difficult and emotional process. One of the biggest obstacles people face is the just-in-case rule. We look at an old cord, a strange kitchen tool, or a box of documents and think, I should keep this just in case I need it in 5 years. This thought is the enemy of a simple life. It keeps us stuck. Most of the things we keep, just in case, are never used. They sit in boxes for decades, taking up valuable space. If we actually need something in the future, we can usually borrow it, rent it, or buy it for a few dollars. The cost of storing these items in our homes is much higher than the cost of replacing them if the rare need ever actually arises. We fear letting go because we are afraid of the future. We want to be prepared for every possible situation. But true security doesn't come from having a garage full of stuff. It comes from having the skills, the relationships, and the financial stability to handle whatever happens. Letting go of the just-in-case items is an act of trust in yourself and your future. Emotional struggles are also very common during this process. Many of our possessions are tied to our memories. We keep a souvenir from a trip, a trophy from childhood, or an old sweater from a loved one. When we think about getting rid of these items, it feels like we are getting rid of the memories themselves. This makes the physical act of cleaning very painful. Consider the gift you received from a friend that you don't actually like. It might be a strange vase or a shirt that doesn't fit your style. You keep it because you don't want to be ungrateful. However, the purpose of a gift is the act of giving. Once the gift is given, its job is done. Your friend wants you to be happy, not burdened by an object. It is okay to say goodbye to things that no longer serve you, even if they were gifts or have memories attached. You can take a photo of the item to keep the memory without keeping the physical object. The memory lives in your heart and your mind, not in a piece of plastic or fabric. Letting go allows you to honor the past without being trapped by it. To make the process easier, many people use the 3-box method. When you go through a room, you have 3 boxes: keep, donate, and trash. The keep box is for things you use frequently and truly love. The trash box is for things that are broken or unusable. The donate box is for things that are in good condition, but that you no longer need or want. The donate box is a powerful tool for change. It feels much better to give an item to someone who will actually use it than to throw it away. Your old books can help someone learn, and your old clothes can keep someone warm. By donating, you are giving your possessions a second life. You are turning your clutter into a gift for someone else in your community. The physical act of cleaning requires time and energy. You might have to spend many weekends sorting through boxes and cleaning out drawers. It is hard work, and you will feel tired. You might even feel like giving up when you see how much stuff you actually have. But every item you remove is a small victory. Every empty space is a reward for your effort. Be prepared for the middle phase. This is the moment when your house looks messier than when you started. You have boxes in the middle of the floor and piles of clothes everywhere. It can be very discouraging. You might wonder if you made a mistake. But this mess is necessary. You have to bring everything out into the light before you can decide what stays. During this phase, it is important to be kind to yourself. You didn't collect all these things in one day, and you won't get rid of them in one day either. If you feel overwhelmed, take a break. Walk outside and breathe the fresh air. Remember why you started this journey. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. One drawer at a time is enough. Keep going, even when it gets difficult. The feeling of lightness that comes after a long session of decluttering is incredible. It is like finishing a difficult race. You will look at your room and feel a sense of accomplishment. The walls will seem wider and the ceiling will seem higher. You are reclaiming your territory from the objects that took it over years ago. Every item you let go of is a decision you no longer have to make. You don't have to decide where to put it, how to clean it, or when to use it. By making the hard decision to remove it now, you are saving yourself thousands of small decisions in the future. You are simplifying your daily life in a very practical and permanent way. The emotional takeaway from this struggle is profound. You learn that you are not your stuff. Your value as a person has nothing to do with what you own. This realization is incredibly liberating. As you clear out the physical mess, you are also clearing out the false ideas about what makes you important. You are becoming more authentic and more focused on your true self. One of the most significant benefits of minimalism is the reduction of decision fatigue. Every single object in our field of vision asks our brain a silent question. Should I move this? Should I use this? Where does this belong? Even if we don't realize it, our brains are processing these questions all day long. This constant processing drains our mental energy and makes us feel tired. When we have too many choices, we often end up making bad decisions or no decisions at all. This is why many successful people wear the same style of clothes every day. They want to save their mental energy for important tasks instead of wasting it on choosing a shirt. By simplifying our environment, we reduce the number of trivial decisions we have to face every morning. Cognitive load is the total amount of mental effort being used in the working memory. Clutter significantly increases this load. It acts as a constant distraction, pulling our attention away from what we are trying to do. In a clean, minimalist space, our cognitive load is much lower. This allows us to think more clearly, solve problems faster, and stay calm under pressure. Let's check back in with Leo. A few months into his journey, his life looked completely different. His desk was now empty, except for his computer and a single plant. There were no piles of paper or unorganized cables. When he sat down to work, he felt a sense of calm. He didn't feel the urge to clean his desk before starting his real work anymore. Leo's mind became quiet. The visual noise of his old life was gone. He found that he could focus on a single task for hours without getting distracted. He was more productive at his job, and he felt more creative. Because his environment was simple, his brain was free to explore new ideas and think deeply. He had discovered the true power of mental clarity. His focus returned in ways he didn't expect. He started noticing the small details of his life again. He noticed the way the light hit his wall in the afternoon. He noticed the taste of his coffee and the sound of the birds outside. He was no longer living in a mental fog of stuff and stress. He was present in the current moment, which is a rare and beautiful gift. Another unexpected reward was the benefit of time. Most of us don't realize how much time we spend managing our possessions. We spend hours shopping, cleaning, organizing, and repairing things. When you have fewer things, all of that time suddenly comes back to you. You are no longer a slave to your house. Your weekends are finally yours to spend however you want. Because Leo spent less time cleaning and shopping, he had hours of free time every week. He didn't spend his Saturdays at the mall or his Sundays organizing his garage. He used that time to reconnect with old friends and to start cooking healthy meals. He found that his life felt longer and more full, even though he had fewer things in it. He finally had the energy to pursue his hobbies. He had always wanted to learn a new language and play the guitar, but he always felt too busy in the past. Now, he realized he wasn't busy. He was just distracted. With a clear home and a clear schedule, he could finally dedicate himself to the activities that brought him real personal growth and satisfaction. This benefit applies to everyone. Think about your own goals. Perhaps you want to study a new subject or focus on a difficult project. Imagine doing that work in a room that is quiet and organized. Imagine having a mind that is not worried about a messy house. When your environment supports your goals, your progress becomes much faster and more enjoyable. A clear desk truly does lead to a focused mind. It sends a signal to your brain that it is time to work. There are no reminders of other chores or tasks. There is only you and the work in front of you. This level of concentration is where our best work happens. It is where we find flow, the state of being completely absorbed in what we are doing. Deep concentration is becoming a rare skill in our modern, distracted world. Minimalism is a way to protect that skill. By choosing to live with less, you are choosing to prioritize your attention. You are saying that your focus is more valuable than any object. This is a powerful stance to take. It allows you to achieve things that other people might find impossible. This journey eventually leads to the philosophy of enough. In our culture, we are always taught to want more. We want a bigger house, a faster car, and more money. We are never satisfied because there is always something better to buy. But minimalism teaches us to ask, when do I have enough? Once your basic needs are met, what else do you really need? Finding your enough is the secret to contentment. It means you stop comparing your life to others. You stop feeling like you are failing because you don't have the latest trend. You realize that you already have everything you need to be happy. This realization stops the endless cycle of wanting and brings a deep, lasting sense of peace to your daily life. When we stop searching for satisfaction in objects, we start finding it in experiences and relationships. We find joy in a good conversation, a beautiful sunset, or a meaningful project. These are the things that actually make a life feel rich. Minimalism is the path that takes us away from the hollow promise of stuff and toward the solid reality of a life well lived. Minimalism is not a new idea. It is a piece of global wisdom that has existed for thousands of years. Many of the world's greatest thinkers and philosophers practiced a simple lifestyle. In ancient Greece, the Stoics taught that we should not be attached to external things. They believed that true happiness comes from our own character and our own actions, not from our possessions. In the East, Zen philosophy has always emphasized simplicity and empty space. In a Zen garden, every rock and every patch of sand is placed with careful intention. There is no unnecessary decoration. This simplicity is meant to help the observer find inner peace and enlightenment. These ancient traditions remind us that the human search for meaning has always been about looking inward. These historical perspectives show us that our current obsession with stuff is a modern mistake. Throughout history, the wisest people owned very little. They knew that a heavy house leads to a heavy spirit. By looking at these ancient cultures, we can find inspiration for our own lives. We can see that choosing less is not a step backward, but a step toward wisdom. There is also a very important environmental side to minimalism. Every object we buy has a cost to the planet. It requires raw materials, energy to produce, and fuel to transport. Most of the things we buy eventually end up in a landfill, where they take hundreds of years to break down. By choosing to buy less, we are directly helping the earth. Minimalism is a powerful way to reduce our waste. When we stop buying cheap, disposable items, we stop contributing to the mountain of trash that is growing every day. We become more conscious consumers. We think about the life cycle of the products we bring into our homes. We choose items that are sustainable, repairable, and long-lasting. Our lifestyle becomes a form of activism. Helping the planet gives our lives a sense of purpose. We feel good knowing that our choices are making a difference. We are leaving a better world for the next generation. This global perspective takes the focus off our own desires and puts it on the well-being of the whole world. It is a mature and responsible way to live in the 21st century. Minimalism can be seen as a form of rebellion. We live in a world that wants us to keep spending. Advertisements are everywhere, trying to convince us that we are not enough. When we choose a simple life, we are saying no to that system. We are reclaiming our power and our money. We are deciding for ourselves what makes us happy instead of letting corporations decide for us. This rebellion is peaceful but powerful. It changes our relationship with society. We are no longer just consumers. We are individuals with our own values. We don't have to follow the crowd or compete with our neighbors. We can live a life that is authentic to who we are. This independence is one of the greatest rewards of a minimalist lifestyle. We are learning that the best things in life aren't things. They are the moments of connection, the feeling of growth, and the quiet joy of being alive. No object can replace the feeling of a deep conversation or the excitement of learning a new skill. When we clear away the clutter, these experiences become the center of our lives, where they belong. The future of minimalism is about more than just cleaning closets. It is about creating a more sustainable and meaningful world for everyone. It is a movement toward quality, connection, and peace. By starting with our own homes, we are contributing to a global shift in consciousness. We are showing that it is possible to live well with less, and that is a beautiful message. As we conclude this story, think about the journey we have taken. We have seen how a heavy house can lead to a heavy heart. We have followed Leo through his struggle and his ultimate transformation. He moved from a life of stress and clutter to a life of clarity and freedom. His journey is a reminder that it is never too late to change the way we live. You don't have to change your whole life tomorrow. You can start small. Choose just one drawer in your kitchen. Choose just one shelf in your closet. Experience the feeling of clearing it out and keeping only what you need. Notice the sense of relief that comes from that one small act. Success in minimalism is built through many tiny intentional decisions made over time. Taking these steps is a sign of great personal growth. It shows that you are ready to take control of your environment and your future. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you are becoming a stronger and more centered version of yourself. This path is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Your progress is something to be proud of. The final lesson is simple. Focus on what truly matters, and the rest will fall into place. When you prioritize your health, your relationships, and your peace of mind, the objects in your life become much less important. You find that you have everything you need within yourself. A simple life is not a small life. It is a life that is deep, rich, and truly free. Thank you for joining us for this story. We hope it has inspired you to look at your own home and your own life with new eyes. Remember that every small step towards simplicity is a step toward a better version of yourself. We look forward to sharing more stories of growth and change with you soon. Until next time, take care of yourself and your space.